Hi, I'm Yvonne Pran, and today I'd like to talk to you about God's view of time. This is a chart that I put together for you to help you understand God's view of time because it can get very confusing when you read the Bible. What this chart shows is how God is outside of time, and his view of time is that he simultaneously is aware of and knows all that is past, present, and future. The challenge is, of course, that we are down here at a linear progression of time, and we only truly know a point in time, though we can imagine a past and a future. Let's talk for a minute about why it's important to understand this. The Bible was written from God's viewpoint, and for it to really make sense, you have to realize that because he can see the past, the present, and the future all at once, he can speak confidently through the writers that he inspires concerning all of time. Therefore, when we properly date when the books of the Bible were written, the latter fulfillment of events often many hundreds, sometimes even thousands of years later, is powerful evidence of God as the author of the Bible outside our timeline. Now, here's a useful analogy that might help you understand this because I know this is one of the most confusing things in Christian theology. Imagine a parade. You have a friend who gets up into the announcer's booth and texts you from there. You don't believe your friend's actually up there, that she was actually able to get all the way up into the announcer's booth, and so you respond to her by saying, "Prove it. Prove that you're really up there." And here's how she does that. Because your friend can see what's coming in the parade, and you can't, because you're down on ground level, she tells you what will happen in the future of the parade. A huge float with Star Trek characters will come by. You can't see it now, but she promises you from her unique viewpoint that you will. In 10 minutes, the float with the Star Trek characters comes by, and you realize your friend really is up in the announcer's booth. That might be kind of an odd analogy, but I think it's a useful one. If you imagine now that the parade is the total history of our universe and humanity, and instead of an announcer's booth, God is outside of time, seeing, knowing the beginning from the end. That's what this chart illustrates. Here it is again, and I hope that the analogy makes a little more sense. Here you have God outside of time, simultaneously aware of and knowing all that is past, present, and future. And then you have all of the past events, and you have us at a particular point in time. It's so important again to understand this because that's why God could speak about events in the Old Testament, for example, that were not going to happen until New Testament times. And that's why also that here we might be, and that God speaks through his word in the New Testament about what's going to happen when Christ returns and paradise is regained. You can look at this lesson in much more detail on the Bible, Human Story, or Divine Revelation Part 1. It's all on www.bible805.com. And also you can download this chart, pass it on, use it however it might be useful for you to help others explain our glorious God and how we can trust that just in the same way that he could tell the prophets in the Old Testament what was going to happen in the New Testament, we can trust him now that his words will be fulfilled in our future, even though we, with our limited viewpoint, can't see it. Please go to www.bible805.com where you can learn to know, trust, and apply the Bible for many more resources that will help you grow in your Christian life.